Understanding tenant and landlord rights in the UK is essential for anyone involved in renting or letting property. These rights are established by law to ensure fairness, protect both parties, and create a balanced relationship within the rental market. For tenants, one of the most fundamental rights is the right to live in a safe, well-maintained property. Landlords have a legal duty to ensure that their properties meet certain health and safety standards, including compliance with gas, fire, and electrical safety regulations. This includes providing annual gas safety checks, ensuring electrical installations are safe, and fitting smoke alarms on each floor of the property. If a landlord fails to meet these safety requirements, tenants can report them to the local council or relevant authorities. In addition to safety, tenants have the right to live in a property that is in good repair. The landlord is responsible for maintaining the structure and exterior of the building, as well as the plumbing, heating, and electrical systems. Any issues with the property, such as a broken boiler or leaking roof, should be promptly addressed by the landlord. If repairs are not made in a reasonable timeframe, tenants can seek legal advice or involve their local council to enforce the landlord's obligations. However, tenants also have a duty to keep the property in a reasonable condition, ensuring that any damage caused by their actions or neglect is repaired. Tenants are entitled to peaceful enjoyment of their rented home, meaning that landlords cannot enter the property without proper notice. Legally, landlords must provide at least 24 hours notice before visiting the property. And the visit must be at a reasonable time unless there is an emergency. This rule prevents landlords from intruding on tenants' privacy and ensures that tenants can feel secure in their home. If a landlord repeatedly enters the property without notice, this could be considered harassment, which is illegal under UK law. When it comes to rent, tenants have the right to know how much rent is due, when it should be paid, and how it can be paid. Landlords cannot increase rent arbitrarily during a fixed-term tenancy without the tenant's agreement. For periodic tenancies, rent increases must follow the procedures outlined in the tenancy agreement or follow statutory guidelines if no procedure is in place. Tenants are also protected against unfair eviction under the law. If a landlord wishes to regain possession of the property, they must follow the proper legal process, which typically involves serving a Section 21 or Section 8 notice. A Section 21 notice is used when the landlord does not need to provide a reason for eviction, but they must give at least 2 months' notice and cannot serve the notice within the first 4 months of the tenancy. A Section 8 notice is used when the tenant has breached the terms of the tenancy agreement, such as falling behind on rent payments. Even in these cases, tenants have the right to challenge the eviction in court if they believe it is unjust. For landlords, their rights are also protected, ensuring they can manage their property effectively while respecting the rights of their tenants. Landlords have the right to receive rent on time, and if tenants fail to pay, landlords can take steps to recover the money, including pursuing eviction if necessary. Landlords can also request that tenants keep the property in good condition and report any issues that require maintenance. If a tenant damages the property beyond normal wear and tear, landlords can deduct the cost of repairs from the tenant's deposit at the end of the tenancy. A key protection for both tenants and landlords is the requirement to place the tenant's deposit in a government-approved tenancy deposit protection scheme. This ensures that the deposit is safeguarded and any disputes about deductions are resolved fairly. At the end of the tenancy, landlords must return the deposit within 10 days of agreeing on any deductions with the tenant. If a landlord fails to protect the deposit in one of the approved schemes, they can be ordered to pay compensation to the tenant, up to 3 times the value of the deposit. Tenants also have the right to expect a clear and legally binding tenancy agreement, which should outline the terms of the tenancy, including the duration, rent, deposit, and responsibilities of both parties. This agreement is crucial as it serves as a reference point for resolving disputes. clarifying what is expected from both the tenant and landlord during the tenancy period. Without a written tenancy agreement, misunderstandings can arise, and it may be harder to enforce rights. Landlords are also entitled to expect that tenants adhere to the terms of the tenancy agreement, including paying rent on time, keeping the property in good order, and not causing a nuisance to neighbours. If tenants breach these terms, landlords can take legal action, which may result in eviction if the tenant fails to rectify the breach. Ending a tenancy requires both parties to follow the correct procedures. Tenants are usually required to give at least 1 month's notice in writing for periodic tenancies, while the landlord must provide a notice period as outlined in the tenancy agreement or as required by law. For fixed-term tenancies, tenants may be required to pay rent for the entire term unless the tenancy agreement includes a break clause or the landlord agrees to end the tenancy early. In summary, tenant and landlord rights in the UK are designed to create a balanced and fair rental market where both parties are protected. Tenants have the right to live in a safe, well-maintained property, enjoy their privacy, and be treated fairly when it comes to rent and eviction. Landlords, on the other hand, are entitled to expect their property to be well cared for, receive rent on time, and regain possession of the property at the end of the tenancy, provided they follow the correct legal procedures. By understanding these rights and responsibilities, tenants and landlords can ensure that their rental experience is as smooth and conflict-free as possible.